Hello. Alright, this week's video is going to be on resource gathering and management. I was asked to make 2 videos by the people on my server for resource management and PvP mechanics. Admittedly, I don't understand how combat works very well in this game, but the most knowledgeable person on my server info dumped me over the weekend, and I haven't finished reading it, much less understanding it. So you'll get that video next week. This week is going to be resources. If you've played long enough to start pushing past level 25, you've found out that everything gets really expensive, and resources don't come easy, especially if you're not playing this game for more than an hour a day. So we'll go over the easiest way to get resources and tactics for managing resources. Number one best way to get resources is going to be mining. And obviously the more March slots you get, the better. You get 1 March slot from VIP level 7, which doesn't take long to get as a free player. And the rest you get through research. Now when you resource gather, of course, they all match up. So just, explore for mine, collect. And you'll probably be inclined to just go with the default deployment. Don't. Okay. You get blue heroes, and they all get bonuses to mining for a different resource. So if you're mining metal, you want Alvinus. Metal collecting speed 28.1% at maximum star. It's tied to their star level. And of course you get frags for the blue guys. Easy. They'll be your first ones up to 8 or 7. So. Next thing, it's going to auto select based on carrying capacity, which means it's going to try and send your highest level predators. Just don't do that. You want to send level 1s. Reason why is because you might get somebody who's going to actually try to attack your node, and while it won't kill the guys, it will injure them. And it gets costly to heal guys that are getting knocked out from resource nodes. It's rare, but it can happen. That, and there's really no point. I mean, these will be more effective inside your base in case you have to defend. And it's not like the carrying capacity is so much different between a level 1 and a level 7. And of course you can save deployments. So if you're super lazy like me, and you just want to click a button and not have to select the hero and the predators. I'm sure everybody else has their save deployments or PvP formations. Mine are for mining, but there you go. And of course if you have them all saved, it's pretty easy to just pop them all out.
It is our duty to strike where the Imperium needs us most.
If you're going to be semi-actively playing, go ahead and pop a collection boost. And if you have Servitor or Overload off cooldown, go for that. And of course, if you have 2 strategies, you want to go for the one that gives you the resource stuff. You notice I didn't actually use that. That's just, if you default it to there, if it's used, it won't let you do it. And even if it's not off cooldown, it won't let you, it'll take you to the strategy screen. But if you click on any other skill and then click use, it'll ask you to, if you want to switch strategy. Anyway, getting on tangents here. So there's another form of resources called super resources. These, I would say, are best for if you're going to be logged out for a long time, so you can't manage your armies. Basically, if you're at work or sleeping. So as you can see, they carry a lot more resources. However, collecting is shared. So there's 5 guys mining this, so it's not going to take long for that to deplete. And once they're depleted, it takes 24 hours for them to regen. So using them for general mining is I'm not going to say it's a bad idea, but it's kind of rude to your alliance members who depend on it for when they're sleeping or generally unable to get to the game once an hour just to swap out their armies. But that's just etiquette. That's just me. Doesn't mean anything. But that's your best way of getting resources, is mining. I will hit on these things. Resource buildings. If you're new to the game, you're probably going to be tempted to invest a lot in these things. And yes, mine are fairly leveled, but that's because I use them to get points for events. Once I get all my other buildings up high level, these actually become the cheapest way to get points for events. But, so next level, I get 100 there, 300 there, 400 more resources per hour of fuel. And the cost of that is 1.78 million fuel. That takes a very long time for it to pay itself back. And you want to upgrade them to a point, but when the return stops being worth it, just pause it and use them for event points if you have to. Next good source is PvE. So Chaos Forces drop resources. And I believe the fleets do too. Yeah. Not as many, but they drop resources. And of course, in the expeditions, you get resources. And the reason why I point that out is if you have more stems than you know what to do with, and you got time to burn and all of the enemies have respawned, the fastest way to get resources is actually blowing up chaos. At least once you start getting level 30 spawns. But it costs AP. Then of course you got crate resources or bought resources. But of course you also get them from events. Now the reason why these come in a crate and aren't just general resources like everything else is because the developers are smart enough that if you're going to pay money for resources, those resources can't be pillaged. So all the crate resources are protected. They can't be pillaged. I believe they exist in a separate category altogether. In other words, they don't count towards your warehouse capacity either. I'm not sure about that. I haven't tested it and I can't be bothered to. Somebody might have a definite yes/no answer on that. But that's my hunch. You have your regular resources that you get from the game. That's what's covered by the warehouse for protected. And this is where you see what your current protected level is. So your difference there is what can be pillaged. So somebody could pillage almost 1 million fuel off of me. But as you can see, I've spent down quite a bit. There's not much to pillage. I spent it down for the Breach the Storm. I've kind of been out of the game for the past couple of days, so I'm a little behind. I'm getting it up. Anyway. So yeah, protected, unprotected. You got your warehouse. Gives you resource protection. And it's really nothing to write home about. Like, wow, 2 million protected resources. Tops out at 2.5. I don't even know if it would get up to 5 million with all the bonuses in the game. But, you know, it's better than nothing. If you got the resources and the build queue to spare, it's alright for leveling up. I mean, you see I got mine to level 31. Next one, interesting one. Oop, playing with my quarter. Next interesting one is resource trading. Now, most people, if they have a resource mule alt, they just attack it. Because resource trading has a tax. And it's a pretty big tax, even if your alliance is fully leveled up on discounts. But if you're using your alt for running rallies, like I do, then that's really the most feasible way, is to trade resources. So the amount of resources that can be traded is tied to either the astropathic relay or the navigator's quarters. I haven't, as you can see, I haven't leveled them up, so I haven't been able to test which one it's tied to. Like right now I can receive 3.3 million and 3.25 million resources. And it's gone up, and I've noticed it goes up when I level these two buildings. No other buildings affected, so it's one of these two. I'm thinking it's the astropathic relay, and the reason I say that, upgrade to increase garrison and help limits. I could be wrong. Someday I'll test it. I'm kind of prioritizing. The last way to get resources, and if you have the power and the troops to burn, the best way to get resources is pillaging or attacking other players. Of course, you want to be sure you're attacking a player that has resources to be pillaged. A good common one that you're going to want to hit dailies is inactives. Players who have quit the game for, well, because the game's shit. Anyway, you'll find level 20 to 25, even some pushing level 30, who've been out of the game, and they've leveled up their resource buildings to a point where you can probably get close to between 1/4 to 500,000 in each resource. And considering that's just a march time, there's no actual time spent at the base, as unlike a resource mine where they got to sit there and gather it. You can pick up a lot of resources real quick. So yeah, keep your eyes open for inactives. Now the last point, not necessarily resource gathering, but is resource management. Because like I said, shit gets expensive and you don't get enough unless you pay money. Here's a good example. Right now I'm focusing on getting my battle barge up. There's people on the server level fucking 35 rocking tier 8s, and well, I gotta catch up, right? So I'm saving all my resources for upgrading the battle barge, the administrative outpost to upgrade the battle barge, because it's got to be same level to upgrade the battle barge, and preemptively upgrading the troop buildings. So that way I have less upgrading to do on those to get everything to tier 8. So I'm saving all my resources for that, and pretty much only that. So you might remember from my primer video, I said you don't want to leave these buildings sitting idle. And of course, my current tier 7s are pretty fucking expensive. Almost 2 million metal, 1.5 million fuel, 2/3 of a million. It's expensive, very expensive. You know what's not expensive? Tier 1s. Look at that. It doesn't even cost adamantium, which is going to be the resource that starves you the most. You're going to need tons of adamantium. Tier 2s are pretty decent also, but these give the best stats for resource and time. So I can just keep spamming these things out. And you're saying, Doc, I can't use those, they suck. Well, you're not supposed to use them. They just sit in your base. They're your meat shield, is what they are. They exist to be sacrificed. They can do damage and be effective on their own when your base is attacked, but the real thing is they have to burn through all of the troops equally. So having shit tons of level 1s, level 2s, whatnot, will protect your higher level troops. Make them more effective, which makes your defense more effective. And in that regard, as you move up through the levels, do not bother upgrading your troops. Whatever troops you have in a tier, leave them there. I made the mistake of upgrading. I should have, but now that I know how things work. And the reason I say this, let's say for defense you decide to use Dodge Hero. And apparently Dodge is rolled for each tier of a unit. So having units in each tier is another defense buff, at least if you have Dodge for your defensive hero. So yeah, resources, resource management. That's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, obviously I've gone over this before, but events are a good way to get resources. Getting yeah, 180,000 fuel is, especially if you're a free player, low level player, that's actually a pretty big deal. So working with your alliance to get up through these levels. Now of course that's protected too. All the resources you're going to get from events are the same crates that you get from buying, which means it's always protected, so you don't have to worry about it. Another good source of those is, of course she's not up right now, is the Rogue Trader. Because you can trade resources for crates. They're always at a discount, so you're getting more resources than you put in, although it's in a different category. And the other bonus is that the resources are protected. So, get out there, mine those rocks, and don't upgrade anything that's not a battle barge or training building. Until next week, have a good one.